Hello everyone, Sylvan Bell coming to you live from Honolulu, Oahu. It is February 28, 2016, not 15, 16, 5:39 in the afternoon, and I want to talk to you about a concept of 3 things that you need to know so you stop chasing sales so hard, okay? So there's 3 things that you need in order to make a sale. You need a pain or a pleasure. That person has to have a problem or they want to do something cool, okay? That's a pain or a pleasure. You need a budget. You need to figure out how you're gonna pay for this. It could be through a credit card, could be cash, could be financed. And then you need a commitment that they want to take care of whatever the pain or the pleasure that is that they're after, okay? Now, one of the things that I see salespeople make a mistake with quite frequently is they don't figure out what the pain or the pleasure is, they don't get the budget, and they don't get the commitment. So let's go through each one of these pieces of information, claps on the next. So if the person has a pain or a pleasure, the job of the salesperson is to slightly irritate that pain or that pleasure more to build some more momentum for them. And I have people tell me all the time, they're like, well, what if I don't do that? Well, then I'm gonna say it's gonna be tough for you to make the sale. And people will say, well, that's not the new sale. I'm like, well, that's how sales are done. You gotta get the person into an emotional state in order for them to buy, and sometimes it's that irritated mode, sometimes it's that happy mode. Just, they do have to be in some sort of state, okay? So whatever your industry is, let's say that they wanna get a car, their old car has a bunch of problems, that's their itch. They don't want to have a bunch of problems in the future, okay? So you might be a coach to get dating. That person doesn't want to be lonely anymore. You might be selling real estate. That person doesn't like the house that they were in previously because the ex-wife lived there, and oh my goodness, those feelings for the ex-wife, woo, okay? So we've got pain, we've got pleasure. Now, here's the thing. I see a lot of times where salespeople go into a process and I'm riding shotgun with them and they don't get any budget information from the person, and I'm sitting there going, how crazy is that, right? You don't even know if that person's gonna fit what you have. They may be out of their league. You haven't even like tried to prime them or flag them by saying, hey, you know, we have packages that start at 10 grand and go all the way to 100 to make sure that that person's even slightly in the wheelhouse, right? There's gotta be some sort of budget. And so, you know, when I'm talking to people about my processes, I'm like, look, here's my first package, here's my second package, here's my third. Which one are you looking towards? Which one do you think is gonna fit out the best for you, okay? Or I'm gonna say, I have 3 packages, depending upon the person and their personality. I'm gonna say, based upon what you're telling me, package number 3 is gonna work out best for you for 1, 2, 3, and 4 reasons, and here's what it's gonna be, okay? Now, if that person is like, yeah, I don't know, that doesn't fit within my budget, you gotta take care of that pretty much right then and there. You got to have that conversation. Waiting for an objection to fester and to get bigger and to compound, like compounding interest, it doesn't work for you. It makes it too hard at the end of the call. And then the third thing is you need that commitment. You need the commitment that they want to do something about the problem that they have and that they're serious about taking care of it, that it's not going to just like, you know, mysteriously disappear and now you've got nothing to go off of, because there is some accountability on your part as a salesperson to remind them, hey, you made these commitments with me, what's changed? Okay, so you got to push that emotional button in the beginning, right? And I'm not saying you have to do it aggressively. It's just sometimes comes from a story, sometimes comes from a conversation, sometimes comes from questions. You need a budget, right? Now, in-home sales, one of the things that homeowners are notorious for is like, you know, if I would ask them, you know, what kind of budget do you want to keep this in? And I just ask it like that, they would say, well, I don't know. So then I started going, well, what budget do you want to keep it in? 10 to 12, 12 to 14, 14 to 16, or 20, above 20, right? And if they'd still kind of push back from that, I'm like, okay, well, what do you want per month? Do you want 125 a month, 160, 190, 250? And if they still wouldn't give me an answer, I'd have to say, hey, time out. Here's what we need to do. I can't go any further until we start looking at something that we could do with a budget. And then that's the time where people usually say, well, I'm using a credit card. I'm like, cool. So if we do something for 15 grand, are we going to max you out? And like, if they freak out on that, then you know that 15 grand isn't where they want to be. So then you go, okay, if we do something for 14 grand, is it going to, create a problem? We do something for 13 grand, and you just keep going until they figure out, hey, look, this guy's not going to give up on talking about a price, because there's a point for me in the process when I sit down with a buyer, even when I'm selling my training, and if they don't want to talk about price, I'm gonna let the call go. I'm gonna say, hey, look, at this point, we need to end the call. There's nothing I could do for you. When you're ready, give me a call, or if you want, I'll give you a call back, in a month. And a lot of times people will go, all right, I didn't want to tell you I have this much money to spend. I'm like, cool, well, here's what you're gonna get for that much money. This is the package you're gonna get, and here's all the work that I'm gonna do for you. And here's everything you got, and we're gonna outline it, and then I'm gonna make sure you understand what you're getting so there's no scope creep, okay? So you need 3 things to make the sale. You need a pain, you need a budget, you need a commitment, right? You can have a pleasure, pain or pleasure, budget or commitment. And without that, you're gonna be chasing the sale. And chasing the sale looks like this. Hey, I was just calling to find out what you're gonna do about the situation. Hey, I was just calling to let you know we have an awesome special going on I came out and saw you last week. Yeah, right? All that stuff is horrible, but if you're talking to them and figuring out what you can do and all that information, the pain or the pleasure, the budget and the commitment, chances are good you're not going to have to chase them like a lot of other salespeople do. Get that commitment, lock it down, and just hold them accountable. That's part of your job as a salesperson, okay? Now, if you could do a small favor for me in the box down below, leave a comment, question, or story, that would be fantastic. To the right, to the left, there's a subscribe button. You know what you got to do. You got to subscribe. And then you can send it out to all your friends via StumbleUpon, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, why not even LinkedIn. Scott Sylvan Bell. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Aloha.